go see your goal setting?
Do I go see it? What do you
Did
mean?
you see her, Harmon? for-
Oh, yeah, I already saw her.
What did you do?
The assessment one, again,
Uh-huh,
so it's the same.
all right. I'm gonna do the one with, the long-term and short-term planning and lesson planning thing, because I'm spending so much time with my newbies.
Yeah,
And so, in fact, I made a copy of our planning that we did last year. And so we're going in and editing things, and so we'll see how that does. But I'm gonna go see her in a few minutes.
well, it was very informal, so,
Okay. I don't know her. I mean, I saw her at East when I did summer school that year. That's it.
yeah.
Okay, dokie. Hey, you get the planning and your goal setting done. I think we should do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, last Friday. You going to that now?
I'm gonna do the long-term and short-term planning.
But,
I saw what happened yesterday.
good, horrible.
I mean, it makes sense though, because it's Clovis.
Well, I mean, they weren't the greatest team, well, they're not the great team, but, I mean, they have a lot of young players like us.
Yeah.
But, we just had a very bad passing game, like, all around, like, passing was just, pulled back. All the way around. And who you playing club with?
Huh?
Who you playing club for?
Central.
Who else from, our team is playing with you? No one. Just you?
It was like Noah and Aiden were gonna join, but Aiden couldn't do it.
And then Noah didn't do it?
Noah couldn't do it because he got COVID.
COVID?
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, it's fine. Our team's pretty good.
Who's on it?
It's me, Archie, Alan, Spencer, Anthony.
Oh, it's all.
Yeah, this guy's Central kids.
Williams is gonna benefit from it.
No. It's not like he's not the one coaching me. It's like Gary.
Why not? I know, but like this year Williams will benefit.
Oh yeah.
But it's all good. So you're setting, you and Anthony or what?
Yeah.
Anthony has like his best meeting for me.
I don't even want to put the guys.
Yeah, but like Anthony was on fire too. Like no matter where the ball was, he was putting that shit. You hear that?
Because they don't sell for anymore, and they're out of pussy, caramel, frappuccino. It's so loud. I want to sell my pussy because people got it from that. And they stopped it, you know. They said that they're outraged. I shouldn't get advanced, so I just got the normal water. You know, it's fine. Like, I should have just came out of bed. Literally, I mean, like, it's still like, it's still better than that. And ten. No, I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's true. I tried.
Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. If you don't have a Chromebook, get a Chromebook. We're gonna jump right into the notes. You take the attendance, get into the notes. What? You finish that ticket, you gotta make that ticket. We don't need to take it. Alright, let me just submit the link here. What is
You don't want to check? I checked already. 76.
Beginning of the year to September. And I just emailed that council, and she just got them all out.
Alright, here we go. Pass the paper out.
The amount of work is the challenge.
Alright, who's absent? Aiden. Andre.
I'll see you at
Melanie. Fernandez. Maybe I went to Mr. Beans. Alright, got everyone? Alright, let me just wait for this monitor. Turn back to hold on. Do this again. There it is. Alright, for those students that want to do the retake, I'm just waiting for the retake ticket to be completed. Once it's completed, you will do the retake ticket, and then, you can do a retake. Alright, so the teacher's working on the ticket. Alright, rotation. Rotation is what we're gonna be doing today.
Thank you.
Alright, taking notes. Alright, so rotation, you wanna write this down? Is a transformation that turns a figure about or around a point or a line. Alright, so it means that I'm gonna spin, right, I'm gonna turn, right, I'm turning, I'm spinning, I'm rotating around a point or a line, right? So it's usually a point, rotate around a point. That point is usually the origin at 0, 0. Alright, if you're writing that down. Alright, you have this? Alright, I'm gonna jump into the next slide here. Up there, one has their notes stuff now. Alright, next slide. Alright, so what does it look like when you rotate? Well, there's a place that we rotate from, right? So let's say if you rotate around this point, right? So the center of rotation, and you're gonna just rotate around. You have to write this down. But I just wanted to show you the rotation. Alright, so there's a center of rotation, or there's a point that you're gonna rotate around, so you're gonna take your finger and just go around the circle, right? Or go around, and the thing is, it's gonna give you direction. And we talked about this direction back in map 1, where it was 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270, right? We did it in increments of 90. It doesn't mean that that it's just gonna stay increments of 90. We could change it and put it at, rotate 63 degrees. Alright, it just involves a little bit more math to do that, but for the purpose of this class, we're just gonna try to keep it at 90 degrees. If we have time, we'll show you how to do it where it involves more, right? So again, if you rotate a full circle, it's 360 degrees. That's all the way around, that's one full turn, right? Half a turn is 180, right? And then ours is, where we're gonna try to keep it to is just increments of 90. Try to keep it in increments of 90. Now, increments of 90 means I'm just moving from one quadrant to another quadrant, one quadrant to another quadrant. That's all I'm doing. So, I'm not going to try to trick you and say move it 94 degrees. I just want you to go from one quadrant to another quadrant, and can you follow the rules, right? And that's it. So, I know I went kind of fast on these notes, but they've been posted online. It's stuff that you've already done in math 2, in math 1, 7th grade math, 8th grade math. So it's something that you should be familiar with. The only difference is we're not using patty paper to make the terms. Now you're expected to know the rules and apply those rules, right? So You don't have to memorize the rules, but you're expected to know how to use the rules, when they appear, alright? And so, let me jump into the rules. So here are the rules. Go ahead and write this down. CW means, clockwise. And then, I know we don't have clocks around the school, that are, the shorthand and longhand. It are these digital now, even on your watches. Clockwise, does this rotation or circle, if I start at the top, I'm going to my right, going back down, and making my way to the top again. CCW means counterclockwise. Counterclockwise means I'm going the opposite direction, right, 90 degrees opposite direction. 180 degrees, it doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, you're still gonna be in the same spot. You're just doing a half a circle spin. Right, I'm gonna give you time to write this so I could show you on the board how these rules work. Just, update the attendance when you're ready. Sure that I have All right, ready? Anyone still writing? All right, continue. I'll wait till you're done to explain the rule, because it's important that you see the examples. All right, ready? You want to start ready? Ready, number 45 seconds. All right, so the way the rule works is like this. I'm gonna tell you to rotate 90 degrees, 180 degrees, whatever the case may be, right? And I'll give you some, the direction from clockwise, counterclockwise, but I'm gonna tell you which direction you're moving. So let's just say I'm taking order pair, 2, 3, 2, 3. And let's start with the easiest one. Let's rotate 180 degrees. So I'm gonna rotate 180 degrees, right? In order to do that, without using patty paper, putting it on a piece of paper on on grid paper or on a coordinate plane, all I'm gonna do is the following. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the easiest one, x, y. So if you look over here, the transformation requires that both signs change. Alright, so it doesn't mean they're both turning negative, it just means to change the sign. So if I have a +2, +3, I'm changing the sign, right? So it becomes -2, -3. Alright? Any questions there? All you're doing is just changing signs. Alright? Now, if I have -3, 5, then my new order pair will become what? Ashley, what would the new order pair become?
Negative 3? I don't know.
So -3, +5. So it becomes what?
I don't know.
Someone help Ashley, go ahead.
You said 180.
Yeah, 180, sorry, 180.
3 -5.
Yeah, so 3, -5, just change the signs. So you're just changing the signs. Alright, any questions there? Questions? No? Alright, now, let's go into, let's rotate, let's do the first one, 90 degrees clockwise. So 90 degrees clockwise. And if I'm gonna rotate 90 degrees clockwise, what you're gonna do, if you notice on the rule here, in the transformation rule, it tells you you're going to switch the numbers. The x now becomes the y, and the y becomes the x. So you're switching the numbers, and then you're gonna change the sign for the x. Alright, so I'm gonna switch the numbers. Switch the numbers, so this 2, 3 becomes 3, 2. And then I'm changing the sign for the x. Alright, and the x, the original x, right? So the 2 changes. Alright, so it becomes 3, -2. Alright? Got it? Alright, so let me ask somebody to answer this. Mario, what's the, if I'm gonna rotate -3, +5, what's gonna be the new order pair? -3, +5, what's gonna be the new order pair? So look at this, what I did up here. So what would be the new order pair? Just switch the numbers for now, we won't worry about the signage, just the numbers. What numbers would go, what would go first? 5, you're good, yep. Then, yep, alright. Now, the negative, right now it's originally negative, but the rule says I'm gonna switch the sign for the -3, which becomes what? +3, so it'll become a +3, alright? So it'll be 5, +3, alright? Now, on the notes here, it says if you forget the rules for the 90 degrees, even the 180, you can always switch the numbers and then adjust the signs, alright? What I mean by that is this. So here's my grid. It says -3, +5, -3, +5, it's somewhere around here. I'm not exact, but it's here, alright? I'm rotating 90 degrees clockwise. 90 degrees clockwise means I'm going from this quadrant here. This is quadrant 2. I'm moving quadrant 2 and I'm moving into quadrant 1. Now all the signage here in quadrant 1 is going to be positive, right? And that's what I mean by, if you don't remember the rules, just put a quick point, make a mental note, and then which quadrant am I moving into, alright? I went from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1. Alright, if I go from quadrant 1 to quadrant 4, then it becomes positive, negative, alright? And you'll notice how the second number's always changing. Here, well, here it's gonna change again. This becomes the first one. Right, this one becomes the first one, and then this side changes. Alright, so if you don't remember, you can always put a point down and then just move, remember you're moving quadrant to quadrant. Alright, it's easier if you know the rules, and study the rules. It's a lot of rules, because we still got reflection, right? But if you have them down, it's gonna be that much more easier for you, alright? If it all else fails, you just make a mental picture and then adjust accordingly. Alright? Questions on the clockwise? No? Pretty simple? Alright, well, I shouldn't say simple. Pretty straightforward. Alright, let's move in another direction. Let's move counterclockwise. Alright, moving counterclockwise. My counterclockwise is, here's the rule. I'm gonna switch, I'm switching the number, so my y now becomes the x, and then my x becomes my y. And then I'm gonna make an adjustment and change the signs for the y's only. Alright, so here we go. So this 2, 3, I'm switching. It becomes 3, 2, right? But then I have to adjust my signs, right? The original y will become a negative. So it'll be -3, +2. Alright, you got it? Alright, who wants to answer this last one or the next one? Go ahead. Mohammed. This one right here becomes what?
Becomes 5,
5, correct?
and 3,
3?
and -5.
Alright, so -5. Alright, so we're switching -5. Do we switch to -3? No, so the -3 still stays. So the -3 doesn't change, so it still becomes negative, it's still -3. 5 comes and becomes negative. So good job. Alright, and the reason being is because you were here, right? But instead of going that way, we're now going this way, this counterclockwise. So both numbers should be negative. Alright, any questions there? That's basically it for the notes. Now for the rotation at 180 degrees, you're doing it twice, right? So you switch numbers, then you switch back, right? So there's no point of doing that, switching numbers, switch back. Just change the signs. You may be asked to do 270 degrees clockwise. All right, let me make this quick note before I cut you loose to do your assignment. Erase this. All right, 270 degrees means I'm moving. We'll do it 270 counterclockwise. We're still at this point. 270 counterclockwise means I'm moving 3 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, right? So if I'm going 3 quadrants, right, 270 degrees counterclockwise, that's the same as just going 90 degrees clockwise, right? You're still gonna meet up in quadrant 1. Does that make sense? Right? 270 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 90 degrees clockwise. All right, any questions over this? No? All right, the assignment is on Delta Math. Oh, there's some rotation symmetry. We're gonna hold off on this, on the rotational symmetry. Right now, I'm just giving this to you in pieces, in chunks. So let's just focus on the rotation rules first, and then we'll go into the symmetry part. Alright, so that's it for the rules. Go ahead and open up Delta Math. Delta Math. By the way, last night's Delta Math, homework is due today, it's set, to be turned in at 4 p.m., by 4 p.m., so you have to 4 p.m. to turn that in. Everybody at Delta Math? Alright, now, again, I'm only using Delta Math for the transformations, because, I think it's a great tool for transformations. I don't have to worry about printing out paper, you spinning it on paper, having that advantage, but then come, test time, SBAC, whatever standardized test, and it requires you to do, some sort of transformation. It's gonna be on the computer, and it's a big difference from doing it on the computer and on paper when it comes to transformation. You don't have that patty paper to help you. Alright? Everyone on Delta Math? Yes? Alright, here we go. Once you log in, it should look like this. There should be upcoming assignments. You'll see the transformation or translations on top. If you're completed with translation, it'll state that you're done with it, right? And you have 100%. If it doesn't show that you have 100%, then you need to finish that. Then you have the next one that's due, which is rotation. All right, rotations. I started off with a little bit of translation, and then jumped into the rotation part. So let me answer the first translation question. Alright, what is the image point of 0.8 after it was translated, or it's after a translation, right 3 units and down 5 units? Alright, so what am I gonna do? If I move to the right, what am I doing? If I move to the right, what am I doing? Christine, what am I doing? When I move to the right, am I adding or subtracting? Adding to the x or to the y? To the x, alright, so I add 3 to 0, 0 plus 3, that gives me 3. And then if I move down 5 units, Jaden, if I move down 5 units, Davis, if I move down 5 units, what am I doing? So it's 8, and then what do I do with the 5? Am I adding 5 to 8, or am I subtracting 5? Subtracting, so 8 minus 5 is 3. Yeah, you're on the right track, it was just the 8 is positive. So submit, and then you're done. Right, now if you, as you're going through this, and let's just say you made a mistake, and you submitted an answer, it's gonna say you have one more attempt, alright? And then you just go ahead and make the changes. Alright, any questions? Alright, if you were not here yesterday, you can just watch the video. This is basically the notes that we took yesterday. You basically caught up, you just watched this one video from yesterday's notes. Or from yesterday's assignment. Alright, now the variation of translating a point. Now here, it's gonna ask you to do certain things, right? And so you're gonna have to apply whatever rule. So it's a little bit, it's a little bit more advanced here. You have the image of the point 2, -3, under a translation is 1, -6. So it goes from 2, -3 to 1, -6. Find the coordinate of the image of point 9, -5 under the same translation. Right, so whatever you did to get this answer from 2, -3, you have to apply it to the 9, -5. So for 2 to go to 1, what did I do from 2 to 1? How do I go from 2 to 1? Yeah, you subtract 1. So I should subtract 1 from 9, and I get what? Subtract 1 from 9, you get 8, right? and then, from -3 to -6, how do I go from -3 to -6? Right, -3, right, I subtract 3 or add 3, right, -3, I'm adding a -3 or subtracting 3, right, so I'm gonna do the same here, I'm gonna add a -3 or subtract 3, whichever is easier to do, right, so -3 plus a -5 gives me a -8, and that is it, and then it's gonna show you the work here. I didn't put the work up, cause I know it's gonna show you here, but this is basically what's going on. From 2 to -3, you can do it algebraically, right, set this up, 2 plus what gives you a positive 1, 2 plus a -1 gives you a positive 1. Here I have -3 plus what gives you a -6, -3 plus a -3 gives me a -6, so then I do the same thing, 9, instead of saying plus a -1, 9 minus 1 is 8, -5 minus 3, -8. Alright, any questions there? Yeah, we're waiting on this. Any questions there? This was yesterday's assignment or notes, alright, carrying over to today. Alright, rotations, this is what we did today, right? So this is what we're doing today. So here we're gonna follow this. I follow the guided instructions below to rotate the figure 180 degrees around the origin. So draw a circle centered at the center of rotation such that one vertices of the figure is on the circle. Alright, so if you don't know what that means, you're gonna pull up the video and then just watch.
Rotate figure about origin guided. Follow the guided instructions below to rotate the figure 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So the instructions say, draw a circle centered at the center of rotation, which is the origin, such that one of the vertices of the figure is on the circle. So what that means to do is go to the origin, you see a little hand up here, click your mouse, hold it, and then you drag. Now, what do we want to drag to? We want to drag to any point on our figure. So we could choose any point. We could choose this one, we could choose this one, or this one.
You got that? So you click on the yellow dot in the center,
I will choose this
drag
point
it to
here.
whatever point
So I
you
let
want.
go. And what that shows is that that point is on the circle, and this is the center. So we're going to try to rotate the whole figure 90 degrees around the origin. But the first thing we need to do is click to drag a line through the center, the yellow center, and to the vertex. So we are going to click and drag. So we've created a line from the center of the circle to that vertex. That cuts the circle into 2 equal halves, which is 180-degree rotations. Now what we're going to do is draw another line which is perpendicular to that one. So how do we draw perpendicular? Well, if this slope is down 7, right 2, then what we're going to do is go up 2, right 7. If we do that, what we see is perfect perpendicular.
Alright, so, perpendicular. Again, the only reason I selected this assignment is so you go back and work with perpendicular lines. Now, perpendicular, the first line you draw is from the origin to whatever point you want on your figure, whatever vertex you want to use. Alright, whichever vertex you want to use. Now, to get the perpendicular line, you're gonna do the opposite, right? You do the opposite reciprocal. So if I went down 7 over 2, that's -7 over 2. That means I flip the fraction and it becomes 2 over 7. Instead of being negative, it'll be positive. So then I just count up 2 and over 7. All right. Now let's go ahead and give this a shot. All right. So I'm gonna click on the middle of the circle and I'm gonna extend the circle to whichever point I wanna do. Now, the closer you are to the circle is the less counting you do. Alright, the closer you are to the circle is the less counting you do. Then you click on this, on the line, create a line, and just connect your 2 points. Alright, count the slope. Alright, I went up 6. Alright, now you have to count because it's just there's 6. I went up 6 and across 1. What's the opposite reciprocal of 6 over 1? What's the 1 over what? 1 over 6. But instead of going up, I'm gonna go, instead of going to the right, go to the left, right? So I can still go up, but I'm going to the left 6, right? Or you go down 1, because I went or I go down 6 and over 1 to the right? Whichever way is, however your mind does this, it's gonna be up to you, right? Or, go down 1 and over 6. So instead of going up 6 and over 1, I'm gonna go down 1 and over 6. Oops. Let's create the other line. Wants me to do that.
You have to hold.
There it is. Alright. So instead of going up 6 and over 1, I'm gonna go down 1 and over 6. Puts us there. Now, you should have a circle that's cut into 4 equal pieces. Alright, once you do that, once you establish that, where is it? Then I'm able to move my circle. Oops. It says move it 180 degrees. So I can move it whichever one. And what it's asked, let me put it in the right spot, because if not, it's gonna mark it wrong. So I can drag it 1 quadrant over, that's 90 degrees. 2 quadrants over, that's 180. Right? I can go backwards, right? Or go clockwise, counterclockwise, doesn't matter. You just move it about how many degrees you need to move it. And each line you cross is 90 degrees. Alright? And then, after you're done, then you put in your answers, right? And the answers are there, just read the order pairs. Now, if you want to just apply the rules and not count, right? There, whatever you want to do, apply the rules, put them here, or if you just want to use the order pairs that are here, right? It's up to you. But all I know is that each of these, the rule states what? For 180 degrees, what should I be doing? For 180 degrees, what's happening? What does the rule state for 180 degrees? 180 degrees, the rules are what? Celine, what are the rules for 180 degrees? What's the rule, I should say, what's the rule for 180 degrees? Celine? Rule for 180 degrees is what?
Negative x and negative y.
Negative x, negative y, so change the sign. So instead of being positive 5, positive 4, it's just be negative 5, negative 4. Oops. Instead of being 6, 7, it's gonna be negative 6, negative 7. Instead of being positive 1, positive 6, negative 1, negative 6. Alright, that's it. Now, if you don't remember the rules, again, you have this, you can just use the coordinate plane, get your order pairs, right? Any questions on how to do this? All right, and again, if you don't remember the rules, you can just get the order pairs from here. All right, do you need to see this problem again, or another one like this one? You got it? Just gotta hold down your mouse pad. All right, the second section in rotation. All right, follow the guided instruction below to rotate the figure 270 degrees counterclockwise about the point 3, negative 1. So now it's not around the origin, now it's around a point. Now here you cannot use the rules because the rules only apply to the origin. Alright, so it just depends. Alright, you may be able to use the, my recommendation is just use the order pairs. Alright, so here you go. So draw a circle. Again, click on the dot, open it up to, and I'll go to the one closest to the circle. Alright, now draw your line. Again, using that same dot. Count your slope. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down, 1 across. That means I need to go 1 up and then 5 across. 3, 4, 5. Oops. There it is. Now I'm going to rotate this 270 degrees counterclockwise. That means I pick it up and move it in this direction. Here's 90, 180, 270. There's 270. Alright, and then all you do is just put your points, write your points in. Now this one's a little bit harder because you gotta understand that I'm using the 2, 4, the 2, 4 is now going to be this 0, 8. Alright, the 2, 4, or the 8, 0, sorry, 8, 0. So the 2, 4 becomes 8, 0. Alright, so this one's different because they're different numbers. Because I'm not rotating about the origin, I'm rotating around another point. So 8, 0. The 8, 2, the 8, 2 is this one here. Alright, which will be this down here. It's the one that's the long line. So it's this point here. That becomes positive 6, negative 6. Positive 6, negative 6. 6, 5, that's this point up here, right, which is corresponding with this one here. So it becomes positive 9, negative 4. And there it is. By the way, if you want to watch the videos, you can watch the videos. Just play the volume low though. Because if you have 30 people playing videos, it'll become, you won't be able to hear. Alright, any questions there? Again, let me submit this. And just remember that you have to find the corresponding points. And then write the order pair. Right? So if the rules the rules here, you can't use the rules as far as like switching numbers. Right, questions? Questions? This is probably gonna be the harder of the, well, I shouldn't say harder. This is probably the one that's gonna involve more work from you, because you're gonna have to, you cannot use the rules and just go straight to getting the answer here. You're gonna have to apply the rotation, then go in and look for the order pairs. And then the last section, all you're doing is, you're rotating around the origin, so the rules apply here. Negative 8, positive 3 becomes 3, 8, right? 3, 8, and then you're just gonna adjust the sign, right? I switch the numbers. Instead of going 270 degrees counterclockwise, I move 90 degrees clockwise. Move 90 degrees clockwise. So instead of going counterclockwise, 90 degrees clockwise. Now, if you have the rules, refer to your rules. 90 degrees clockwise means I switch numbers and then just switch the sign for the X. Change the sign for the X. So, alright, so go back to it. So the X becomes positive 8, 3 remains the same, and then submit. Alright? In here, you're using the rules. So continue working, you still have 10 more minutes. I'll walk around. Make sure you have any questions. Yeah. If you have any questions, I'll answer. If you need help, you can ask your neighbor, you can ask me. You just get out, be on the phone before I start taking phones away. Yeah. So it just says translate the figure 1 unit to the right, 2 units down, so take that point, and you just put down 1 over 2. Or down 2, and over to the right one. So, so we go down 2, and 2, and yep, we're playing there. Oh, you're trying your best at first. Alright, so now, see what's the right one, down 2, so you want to hold this. Down one, right one, down 2, and 2, let it go. And then take it up. And then replace it. Where the arrow points, that's where Any questions on the rotations? That second section of the rotation is probably the more challenging section, and the only reason being is because you cannot apply the rules, right? You have to adjust, and then you have to find corresponding parts or corresponding vertices, and write down the correct order pair. Alright, so you draw the line, so you went 1, 2, 3 up, and 1 across. So now your second line is gonna go 3 across and 1 down, so 1 down and 3 across. Sometimes it helps to like write it down, so that way you can see it. And now you have to rotate. Yep. And then now move your points for the figure, I don't know how many degrees. 280? Oh. Alright. Finish? Alright, does anyone need help? Help? So you finished?
Yeah.
Man. What about your group?
Yeah.
Hold on,
No,
hold
it's always having these ones.
Alright, so count how many units did you go up and then across? 4. So you went up 4? I went up 1. I went up 1 and then up how many?
200 for like an hour.
What? Yeah, from the yellow dot to that corner.
I know. I'm gonna shut down. Stretch it out for an hour. I need like my mental health breaks.
Alright, so from this yellow dot to that one. Up 1, over 6. So then what I need to do is go down 6. Well, actually, you're gonna go up. Just look this part. So you go up 6. And then go over 4 to the right. You went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We'll talk about how to sleep at home. Okay. Because they were actually gonna call. I'm gonna buy my ticket. And then this is my very valuable ticket. Let me see how
So 6 over 1. So now rotate to right. 90 degrees clockwise. So, you want 180. Go back up. That's 180. So there it is. Now you gotta find corresponding parts. So this order pair is that order pair. So now you gotta find that order pair. Alright, so, image point A by A is gonna be to the left one, and up for page 6. So you just work it backwards. Yeah, well, here, in this case, you went to the left one, so, here you have to add it. You went here, so you're doing the opposite. So, instead of, you're gonna add 1 to that. And then go 4 to adding 4. So you're just doing the opposite, because it's saying, here's your new order pair, where's the old one? Where's the original? Yeah. Alright, rotate 27 degrees, so count how many units you went up and over? So you went up 2 and over 2. Up to 6, so you can go down 2. No, so you go down. Down 2, 1, 2, go over 2. Right, down. And then connect that point to the middle. Or just hold the circle to the middle, yeah. And then now rotate it 110 degrees. Clockwise, yeah. So now you're putting, yeah, you just go. Alright, now, write down your
If you
order.
had a child and you wanted to push it out.
Yeah, I know that.
You went counterclockwise or clockwise? So switch the numbers.
Does that look like fucking Volvo? Does that
Yeah,
look
negative, yeah, the second one's on the top.
Wait, there's like something scattered on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, switch it, this would be 2, negative 2 in front.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah,
Don't come there.
Scroll down.
Ready?
Alright, let's do tomorrow. Have a seat, instead of a minute 30.
What?
Have a seat.
That's back. Oh shit. What? Go back, go back.
It's fine. They're gone.
We need one more
I
answer.
was like,
They don't
and then I literally like have it.
You know, like, no, like,
It's so good.
Oh, yes.
And honestly, the squid is like,
We answered it.
this is also why I was like the right thing to do.
Go go now. Everything
It's gonna ask, you can see it, but you hear it.
better than that.
No, you can. Look at my hair, it's right here. And he always comes back.
More shoes.
No, this corner spot is like. Oh, yeah, like I was like saying that the tables, like the tall tables in the corner, but like this one is kind of better. Like you can see. It's like literally, you're like looking at it and I'm like, because I already have these socks on. I don't have like
I have been watching for you.
Taco.
You got your thing? You signed?
See, I'm in your second grade.
How's Juliana?
Huh?
How's Julie?
Better.
Huh?
Better.
Torn last night. I lost to hit, or was it their parents? What are you? What class is she in? No, tell you, Marlon. What class is she in right now? You don't know?
No, I'm not here next day.
Man, I thought you were stalking her.
What?
Morning. Huh?
No.
Math with who? Maldonado? Yeah. Yeah.
आ गया अपना बड़ा पजामा पा के आ गया पैंट पे तो उठ के मैं तो पैंट पाने जी नहीं करता हूँ अभी सही बता लगेगा वो को पता है morning in the morning so fucking calf cramp bro like to bed like you go to मैं तो बापू भी था तो रंगड़ पे तो माफिया वांग लग गया ना भाई जिंदगी कभी काम नहीं करता सर ते आज बाकी लात तो बड़ी पीड़ होगी बात हो जाए और के लात तो सच्ची वीडियो
Which roll was that?
I swear to God they are. I swear to God. Dude, I was about to accept the FBI to take the Friday the lady.
Okay, we were just talking.
That's a lie. That was not that time. I by themselves. They were sitting by themselves. Dude, I'm so stupid.
Okay, now
No, they weren't. I was standing right next to them. Cause I couldn't walk.
Exactly.
No, that was.
No, he was there.
Yeah, I was
He
there.
was there.
Yeah, I was
He
there.
was there the whole
I
time.
couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I walked over to the bus and I just stood next to them. No, we get food. Oh no, they were talking the whole time.
No, but I was helping your mom.
And then you guys went outside the bus. We're like, oh, wow.
To go throw away.
Alright, what I want you to do is take out some paper, you're ready to take some notes. The notes are gonna be online here, well, they're already posted online, but I need you to get ready to take some notes. And just take the attendance. If you have any questions or the homework, let me know. The homework should have been easy to do. Yes. The rotation one?
I told you yesterday.
Yeah, you have to do this. That's due today. Yeah, you do it, start it now, then you can finish it and support. I'll show you here real quick, Lance, we get the class order first.
That was better.
So,
I go to every single day. That's cool. Last year was way better. It's pretty chill.
alright, let me just submit this attendance and we'll get going. by the nurse? The nurse is marking you absent. Are you going to see the nurse? Are you going to see the nurse? First period? Alright, go see the nurse because she's marking you absent, so she has to take you off. I cannot override her.
Who?
So that, you just need your attendance cleared. Alright, here we go, let's begin.
Do I have these ones?
Nope, I'm creating it right now. Alright, so, the notes should go somewhat quick. Again, only because you, did this in, middle school, right, at Glacier or Rio. Alright, so you should have this, you should complete this, or did this in 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah.
Alright, you have it? Alright, so rotation is a transformation that turns a figure about, around a point or a line, right? So what this is, you don't have to do that, it's already gonna focus on the line. You take the time away. So, if you go to Google Classroom, you'll see the notes. Alright, so I'm spinning, right, I'm turning this figure, right, so it's usually in increments of 90, so if I'm reading this, this paper, if I rotate it 90 degrees, it goes from in like this vertical looking hot dog style, and then turning this in sideways on its side, alright, so I'm making these rotation of 90 degrees. Alright, so I'm gonna spin the figure, right? But I have to spin it around something, right? It's usually the points, right? Usually, not always, it's gonna be the center of rotation is gonna be the origin, right? 0, 0 on your order pair or your coordinate plane. And the center of rotation can be on or outside the shape. Alright. Now the next few slides you won't have to worry about writing, it's just what is rotation and then the rules. The next few slides are just me showing you what I'm talking about. Alright, anyone still writing this? Do you want to study more time? Are you good? Alright, so here you go. Alright, so what does a rotation look like? Well, I need to rotate it around something, first of all. So here's my center of rotation. So I'm going to take it and just spin the triangle around that point. So again, I'm going to take it and spin the triangle around the point. Right? It could be on the figure, or if it's outside the figure, then I can rotate it around, and I have to use some sort of direction, right? And the degree, how many degrees am I rotating? All right, any questions there on the rotation while we're doing the spinning? The figure. All right, now the the rotations, and this is going clockwise, right? I start at the top and go to my right, and around the bottom, going back towards the top. So this is moving in a clockwise direction. Again, this is moving in a clockwise direction. A full rotation all the way around is 360 degrees. Alright, if I only go halfway, it's 180 degrees. Alright, if I only go halfway, it's 180. If I go a quarter of a way, then I'm spinning 90 degrees. Alright, so again, this is kind of review from 7th, 8th, and 7th grade math, 8th grade math, and your math 1. Are there any questions about clockwise, counterclockwise? Questions about clockwise, counterclockwise? So right now, all I've been showing you is clockwise. Moving in this direction. Are we good? Alright, so let's write the rules down, and we're basically done with the notes. Here are the rules. Anytime I rotate, I'm going to move in a certain direction, which causes a change in the order pairs. So 90 degrees CW means 90 degrees clockwise. 90 degrees CCW means 90 degrees counterclockwise. 180 degrees, doesn't matter if you go clockwise, counterclockwise, you're still going to go just half a circle. You're meeting in the same spot if I were to go clockwise or counterclockwise. And then any rotation beyond or that's not an increment of 90, right? It's not a multiple of 90. It's possible, but it just requires a little bit more math to do. So the purpose of this class is, for this class, we're just gonna keep it 90 as the multiples of 90. Now, if we have time, I'll show you how to do it. It goes like 63 degrees or 21 degrees. It's a little bit easier to do when you have software to help you. Alright, once you're done writing this down, I'm gonna give you examples on how to do this. Let's use these examples. Let's get different numbers. Are you ready? Yes? No? Maybe so? Alright, let's pay attention on here, because you're gonna need to know this. Rotations. Alright, so we're doing rotations, and then I'll tell you rotate whichever rule. Alright. Let me have your attention up here. Is anyone still writing the rules down? I want to make sure you have the rules written down. It's important that you write the rules down. Anyone still writing? Alright, let's start with the easiest one. That's the 180 degrees. So we're doing the rotations of 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Rotations of 180 degrees. Alright, to do the rotation of 180 degrees, you're just taking this point 2, 3, or the point -4, 5, or point -6, -7, and you're rotating about the origin. So all these examples I give is about the origin. So I'm going around the origin. Alright, so what we do for this rotation, or how we make this rotation, if we look at the rule, and again, I'm using doing the easy one first. If you look at the rule, it goes X, Y, and then the transformation occurs Now I have negative x, negative y. Negative x, negative y means that I'm changing the signs, right? So instead of having a positive 2, 3, then my answer here is gonna be what? What would be the answer?
Y, 3.
No, I'm doing the 180 degrees. I'm doing 180 degrees, so it'll be what? Negative 2, negative 3. Right? Negative 2, negative 3. For the second example, negative 4, positive 5 becomes what? What does negative 4, positive 5 become?
Positive 4.
Positive 4,
Negative 5.
negative 5. Alright, all I'm doing is just switching numbers. Negative 6, negative 7 becomes what? 6 and 7, right? Positive 6, positive 7. Any questions there? For 180 degrees, you just switch signs. That's it. Switch both x and y. The signs for x and y. Change the signs. So I'm changing signs. Questions on the rotation of 180 degrees? And this comes about the origin. Alright, so moving around the origin. Got it? Paige, you got this? Alright. I'm gonna erase this board. I'm gonna go to the 90 degrees. Ready for 90? Anyone still ready? Alright, jumping to 90 degrees. So here, this is a little bit complicated for some, for others it's easier to remember. If you forget, I'll show you a way of just drawing it out, so that way, if it helps you doing it that way, you have to see a picture, and we draw it out. Alright, rotation of 90 degrees, and CW means clockwise, I'm going clockwise. So 90 degrees clockwise. Alright, so if you look at the top one, the first line, 90 degrees clockwise means that I take my x, y, and I switch my y for my x and my x for my y, and then I change the sign for just the x by itself. That's it. Alright, so I'm switching numbers and then changing the sign. Alright, so let's start with this first one, 2, 3. Let me call it. Well, let me do the first example and I start calling students. Let's see, 2, 3 becomes 3, 2, and then I'm changing the sign for x, the original x. So my answer is 3, negative 2. 3, negative 2. Got it? Alright, fourth, switch it out. So negative 4, positive 5 will become what?
Positive 4.
Positive 4, that's the first number or second number?
Second.
Second, and then 5 would come first, and that's it. 5, 4. Alright? Because I changed the sign for the x, so it becomes positive 4, but then I'm switching the place of the position of the x and y. Alright,
Wait, the 5 doesn't turn negative?
no, 5 doesn't turn negative.
Are we on CW?
On CW, yeah, on clockwise, yeah, clockwise. Alright, next one, Sadiq,
Yeah.
you got the next one? This becomes what? Negative 6, negative 7 becomes what?
Positive
Positive 6, is that my first number or second number?
first.
Positive 6. You're right, it is positive 6, but what's the new order pair?
That's the second.
So positive 6 is the second, and then what goes in here?
Positive.
What?
Positive second.
Negative 7.
Alright.
Right, I don't change the y. The y stays the same, it's the x that changes.
Yeah.
Alright, so let me show you, this is 90 degrees clockwise. Let's see, which order pair do you want me to? Let's do the 2, 3. 2, 3 is somewhere here, it's not gonna be exact. There's 2, 3. Alright, 2, 3 is in this point here, this is quadrant 1. Alright, remember, yes, can you wait after the notes? In quadrant 1, it's all positive, plus plus, right? So, plus plus, right? Now, I'm moving 90 degrees clockwise, so I'm moving one quadrant over. So clockwise means I'm going this direction, so from this quadrant, I'm somewhere in this quadrant here, right? Somewhere in that quadrant here. Well, in this quadrant, my order pairs are what? My order pairs are positive, negative, positive, negative. So, if I can remember, just switch the numbers. When it's 90 degrees, I'm switching numbers. 2, 3 becomes 3, 2. And then my first number should be positive, my second number should be negative. So that's another way of doing this, all right? All right, last one, or last set, which is the counterclockwise. All right, counterclockwise, ready? So we're going counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. All right, so we're going the other direction. I'm gonna leave these here. I'm gonna leave these, well, I should delete them, erase them. Do it from scratch. All right, going counterclockwise. If I look up the rule here, my rule states switch numbers, which I did. X becomes my Y becomes my X. But this time you change the sign for Y and leave the X alone. All right, so here I'm switching numbers. This becomes 3, 2, right? But this time I'm switching the sign for Y. So it'll be negative 3, positive 2, right? And what I mean by Y, the original Y. Yes, Marlon. Okay. All right, so Marlon, get the second one.
I believe it's
Negative 5, negative 4. All right, I switched the numbers, but my original Y becomes a negative. Right, or it changes signs, so positive becomes a negative. All right, Marlon, just get the second one, or last one.
7.
All right, so positive 7, negative 6. The sign changes for the Y, positive 7, but this time I put in the spot of the X, and then switch. All right, any questions? Any questions? All right, Rika, you go now. Just one side note, if I'm rotating 270 degrees, that means I'm going 3 quadrants and not 1. Well, there's only 4. So 270 degrees clockwise is the same as going 90 degrees counterclockwise, right? Instead of going three blocks around clockwise, I just go work backwards, just go 1 block in the opposite direction. Right, that makes sense? So that way you still apply these same rules, but you're just doing it in the opposite direction. All right. Questions? Because if not, we're jumping into Delta Math. All right, I need everybody to open up Delta Math. What? Leave that up. Yeah, leave that up. Oh, the Linus, the rotational symmetry, we'll cover that another day. So give you this in chunks here. All right, Delta Math. By the way, yesterday's assignment that I gave you yesterday, that was assigned to you yesterday, is due today by 4 o'clock. All right, so make sure you have that completed. It should take you no more than like 10 minutes to do. No more than 10 minutes to do. All right. Ready? All right, so let's jump into today's assignment. Wrong class. Second period. Are you ready? Alright, here you go. So when you open up Delta Math, you should see something like this. If you're completed with the translation, you'll have 100% here. If you're not, you'll have a different number. It'll tell you which numbers or which sections are done, right? If you completed 2 out of 3, you have 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. You have a 6 out of 5, 7 out of 5, 10 out of 5. You're doing more work than you have to, but I'm not gonna stop you if you need that extra practice. By all means, you do the extra practice. You're only required to do a minimum of 5 correct, right? Today's assignment, we're gonna pick up where we left off yesterday on the translation, so here we go. What is the image point of 1, -3 after you translate, right 5 units and up 2 units? Well, if I move right, am I adding or subtracting?
It's 6 and -1.
Yeah, so the answer is 6, -1, but if I move to the right, am I adding or subtracting? Adding, I'm adding 5 to the 1, so that gives me my 6. And then I'm going to go up 2 units, I'm also adding there, which is -3 plus 2, gives me my -1, alright? I didn't put this on the board because it's gonna show you on the next, once I submit my answer, it's gonna show you how it was worked out. So you add, if I'm moving to the right, I add 5 units to X, if I move up, I'm adding 2 to the Y. If I'm going the opposite direction, I subtract. Yes,
Can you check on my phone?
check on yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on, let me get the students going here. Alright, we get the entire class here. Alright,
I memorized.
you got it?
I said never mind. I accident.
Okay. Alright. Now, the next section. The next section is a little more challenging because it wants you to think a little bit. So it's giving you all this information. So you're either gonna work backwards or it's gonna require you, all right, look at this point, we moved it here, now do the same for the other point. So I'm gonna do 2 columns here. Alright, so the image point, 6, -9, under a translation is 11, -4. So I went from 6 to 11, -9 to -4. Alright? Find the coordinates of the image point, -3, -2, under the same translation. Alright, so here we go. How do I go from 6 to 11? What did I do? 6 to 11, I did something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Add 5, so I should add 5 to -3. 5 plus -3 is what? 5 minus 3 is 2, so that goes there. Now, I went from -9 to -4. What did I do there? -9 to -4, I did what? -9 to -4, I did what? Add what? How many? Okay, how many units?
Five.
5. So I added 5 units there, right? If you look at the number line, right, I'm -9, I went 4 to the right, so I had to go, or I went, to get to -4, I had to move 5 units to the right. Alright, so it's +5. Alright, so, I'm gonna add 5 to -2. What's -2 plus 5? Or what's 5 minus 2? It's 3, alright? Hit submit, hit enter, you're good. Now here's the work shown, 6 to -9, I had you ask yourself, 6 plus what gives you 11? 6 plus 5 gives you 11. Alright, for the 4, -9 plus what gives you -4? 5 again, which we did that. -3 plus 5, that's 2. -2 plus 5, which is 3. Any questions on the second section? Alright, let me just do one more, let me see if it pops up here. No, it's not popping up. By the way, and here, I'm just gonna type in whatever, I'm just doing just whatever number. It's gonna say, oh, you didn't get that right. I tried again, this time, maybe change the sign, submit, and it's gonna tell you did it wrong, and you just look at it, and then you just move on to the next question. Alright, you have to get 3 right. Alright, there's questions, I'm trying to find the question, there's questions that asking, where you work backwards, where it gives you the image, but it wants you to find the pre-image, so you're working backwards. Alright, so instead of, it'll tell you when you write 3, instead of adding 3, you're gonna subtract 3, because you have to go to the original spot. Alright, it's not, it doesn't appear up here. Alright, let's go into the rotations. Alright, this rotation, first section on the rotation. Alright, so to rotate, follow the guided instruction below to rotate the figure 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Alright, now, I'm gonna look at the instructions here, right? It says draw a circle centered at the, centered at the center of rotation such that one of the vertices of the figure is on the circle. Alright, after reading that, you're like, I don't know what that means. Well, pull up the video, watch the video so you can know what that means.
Rotate figure about origin guided. Follow the guided instructions below to rotate the figure 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So the instructions say, draw a circle centered at the center of rotation.
I'm gonna pause this, I can just move on, so I'm gonna end up repeating what he's gonna say. But if you need to watch the video, it's there for you. So what he's gonna tell you to do is click on the circle, right? Expand it out so that your dot is on one of the vertices. Doesn't matter which one. My suggestion is to go to the one closest to the circle. The one closest to, or closest to the dot, the origin, right? Only because you do less counting. Alright, next, it says click and draw a line, right? So you're gonna hold this dot, and you're gonna draw a line to the one that, to the point that you selected, and you're gonna connect the origin, the point of the origin, and the point that you selected, and create a line. So there's my line. Alright? After that, so I cut the circle in half. So now I have to cut the circle in another half, right, to make quarters, to go in increments of 90, right? So I know it's gonna be somewhere up here, but I just don't know exactly where, right? So what I need to do is cut it in half. So to cut it in half, you have to do the perpendicular line, make a perpendicular line. So how do you do that? Well, let's count. I went from the point on the vertice, or on the triangle, to the origin. I went up 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 2. Right, so positive 3 over 2. Now, to do perpendicular lines, you have to do the opposite reciprocal. So what's the opposite reciprocal of 3 over 2? What's the opposite reciprocal of 3 over 2? Let me write that on the board. Because my slope is 3 over 2. What is the opposite reciprocal of 3 over 2? So right now, my slope is 3 over 2. So what's the opposite reciprocal of that? Opposite reciprocal. So you flip the fraction, becomes what? 2 over 3. And then instead of being positive, it's going to become negative. So now it's apply a slope of 2 over 3. So from the origin, I'm going to go down 2, right 3. Alright, so down 2, 1, 2, right 3. So click on the origin, go down 2, 1, 2, 3, right 3. Alright, there's my quadrant cut into 4 pieces, right? Now, what I need to do is rotate 90 degrees clockwise. So I'm going to pick up this and go 90 degrees clockwise. So this direction is clockwise. I only need to move it 1, and there it is. Alright, now you just go in and adjust and do the right the order pairs. Alright, now, for those of you who get this, I know this is like an extra step, but there's several students that have a hard time seeing the rotation. So that's why I selected these types of problems, so they can see what it means to rotate 90 degrees, and then find the numbers. Now, for those of you who know the rules, you can just apply the rules here, right? I'm rotating 90 degrees, what I do is switch numbers and change the sign for X. So I switch numbers, so -2, -6 becomes -6. Right, so I'm switching numbers, but then -2 becomes +2. Right, so I just switch numbers and make sure that my Y's are positives. So this is -3 for the first one, and +2 for the second one. -4 for the first one, and +3 for the second one. Alright, try values, make sure it works. And then hit enter, and there it is. Are there any questions here? Again, if it tells you to do 270 degrees counterclockwise, is the same as going 90 degrees clockwise. Alright, I think the hardest part about this is finding that perpendicular line. Perpendicular line doing the opposite reciprocal of the slope. Does anyone need to see another problem like this, or you got it? You good? Alright, the next section is a little bit more, I think it's a little bit more, challenging, only because the order pair is not the origin, so you're not allowed to, well, you cannot use the rule where you're switching numbers, but there's gonna be different numbers. So it's just an extra step you have to do. Still doing the same thing, but just an extra step, which is you have to look at the order pairs. Alright, so I'm doing the second section of rotation, so keep an eye out here real quick. So stop what you're doing, watch this. Alright, to rotate around this point, you notice that the point is not on the center of the coordinate plane, it's somewhere else. I'm gonna do the same thing, I'm gonna open up my circle. I'm gonna go to the closest spot on the triangle, drop my circle, create a line with the point that I dropped, create a line with the point that I'm rotating around, the center of rotation. Alright, now let's count. I went up 1, 2, 1, 2. So I went up 2 over 2. So instead of going up 2 over 2, I'm gonna go down 2, 1, 2, and then to the right 2, 1, 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and create my line. Here, just keep in mind that you have to hold the mouse pad until you get your line. Alright, I'm rotating 180 degrees. I'm going 2 quadrants. So pick this up. 1 quadrant, 2 quadrants. Alright, there it is. Now, here's the challenging part I was telling you about. Now you gotta find the corresponding points. Alright, so this point, the one on the circle, corresponds with the one on the circle. So this is -1, -4, -1, -4, so it's the one in the middle, is now 3, 0. So the order pair, 3, 0. Alright, now find the other corresponding point. Well, this one, if it drops, it's next to it, it's like running horizontal with it. So it's the one on the 7. So this one, -5, -4, -5, -4 is the bottom one. That is gonna be the 7, 0. Now, if you mess this up, the first time you correct it, it gives you 2 shots to correct this. The last point it will be the one, instead of being pointing downward, now it's gonna be pointing upward. So I rotate it, I spin this 180 degrees. Alright, so this is -4, -8, which is the top order pair. It's now gonna be +4 and 6. +4 and 6. Oh, sorry. +6 for better backwards. +6, you gotta do the X first, and then 4 is the Y. Try my values, it looks like it's correct. That's it. Any questions there? Alright, let me just do the last section. The last section is just apply the rule. That's it. Last section, there's they don't give you the figure, you're just applying the rule. Alright, the rotations of points, so, a positive 3, negative 4 after rotating 180 degrees. Well, if you remember the rule for 180 degrees, all you're doing is just switching or changing signs, that's it, changing signs only. So positive 3 becomes negative 3, negative 4 becomes positive 4, that's it. Submit your answer, and all these are gonna be rotated around the origin. Next question, 90 degrees clockwise. 90 degrees clockwise means I'm switching numbers, but changing the sign for the X. Alright, so negative 6 though remains negative 6. That goes first. Positive 5 now becomes negative 5. And again, if you need to draw your coordinate plane on paper and put a point down, you could do that. Oops. 90 degrees, oh, counterclockwise, I went clockwise, I went back. So counterclockwise. So the 5 stays the same, 6 switch. Alright, so clockwise, counterclockwise. So the Y changes. Alright? Any questions? Alright, let me walk around the room and then, answer some questions here. Give me some time to get around to everybody. Hold on. So Sandy point, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. So remember when you're rotating 90 degrees, you're switching the numbers. So the 8 goes in the front and the 3 goes in the back. Okay? Now if you go counterclockwise, the negative 8 becomes positive 8, which there you have it. That's it. Same thing there. It's only the Y, this Y that changes, which becomes positive 3. Leave the X. Only when you go clockwise, you change the 5. That one you just, no, that one, 180 degrees, you don't change the numbers. The numbers stay in the same position, you just, all you do is just change the signs. So put it back, go back to, it has to be 2, 7. So for 180 degrees, the numbers stay in the same spots. It's the,
The 7 changes?
all the signs change, yeah, 7 becomes negative. 2 becomes positive.
So put the 7 in reverse?
Yeah, 180, you leave the position, it's only the 90s that you change positions. But they're both positives, and now they have to both become negatives.
Okay, both of them?
Yep, because you had to change the signs for everything. So the rule for the 180 is leave the numbers in the same spot, just change the signs.
So put the 8 for here instead? Or the 9?
No. So 180 stays the same. Oh, you gotta do the signs, you'll have to change signs.
So both of them are negative?
Yep.
That's the only one that I found that might be easy. The other
This one is the same, you just have to do the extra work.
is always someone who will.
So put your point on the circle, and then open it up. That one, to any point, the one closest, doesn't matter whichever one. They got you cleared? I mean, yeah. Did they make you take a COVID test? They make you take a COVID test? No. Trying to figure out, 'cause some people are out like 2 or 3 weeks, some people are just out 1. Trying to figure out their process, so they're out of Alright, now draw a line. Draw a line from that, where you put the point down. The one that you put the point down on. Yep. Now count how many units did you go from the yellow dot up to that dot? How many units did you go up? What count? From the yellow dot? What make it bigger? From 0 to what? Not 5. 4. So I went up 4. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right 4. So start making a line here, click on the yellow dot, hold your pad down, you go to the right 4. So you're gonna hold your pad, mouse pad on the yellow dot, and go to the right 4, just count 4 to the right. So just hold it down, count 4 to the right. Alright, now you're gonna go down 1. Yeah. That's it. Now it tells you, pick up your finger and rotate it 90 degrees. Counterclockwise, which way are you going? So clockwise means I'm
You
going
can't do
this
the first
way.
thing?
Counterclockwise means I'm going.
I'll do that one if you do that one.
Alright, so this needs to go here.
I get all of the
Yeah.
first three. The last one I needed.
So,
It's just annoying.
yeah, so pick that up, move it around, there, yeah.
The paint.
Now you just apply the rules.
All negative?
No, 90 degrees, so you have to switch the numbers.
Oh, let's switch the numbers to the,
Yeah,
like this?
yeah. Switch the numbers, now one of them is gonna be negative, which one's gonna be negative, the X or Y?
Definitely the 7.
So, just, we're just filling all the numbers for now. Alright, so yeah, so all of them are in different positions now. Which ones are negatives, the X's or the Y's on this?
The 1?
No, the Y's up here, so it's the X's, so all the X's will be negative.
Which one?
What sign is it? All these right here?
The one top right here?
Yeah, no, on this one, on this first one, on the first ones, they all have to be negative. Alright, anyone, needs help with this?
7?
What is this, submit? 26. I have 8 minutes, 8 minutes, try the next one. If you're on your phone, I'm about to take it, and then get it to your coach, you can pick it up from him. Questions, questions, questions? Questions over here? You already finished? Both of you?
We've already took this class.
You took this class?
And Savannah. Savannah. You know?
180 degrees? Alright, so hold this circle down, open it up, so you get that. Yeah, any one, don't matter, I like going the closest one because I don't have to open it up. And swing it over the same way. Now, this is why I picked the shortest one, because you gotta count 1, 2, 3 up, or 1, 2 to the right. Alright, so I'm gonna, since I went up 3, I'm gonna hold this down, I'm gonna go to the right 2. 1, 2, 3, and then instead of going up 2, I'm gonna go down 2. 1, 2. So the lines you make should create an X. 90 degrees. Rotate under 80 degrees, pick up that figure. Just move it 1 quadrant, 2 quadrants. And then, now, all you're really doing is just changing signs. The numbers are the same, just change all the signs.
Are there any
4, 6,
fights in the gym?
1, 5.
People thought they were possible. You want? You want?
If it's negative 8 to 9 after you Alright, so what do you think? So I do this one. Yeah, it's just for so here, just cut 3, subtract 3, 8, negative 3.
Some girls look more than teenager boys. Some girls look more than teenagers.
This is both negatives, that's why. They're both negatives. So, negative 9, down 5, so negative 9 plus negative 5.
Yeah.
If there are actually 5 on them. This is your second attempt. There's gonna be questions.
This one's easy. And you put some oil on it. There's some oil right that goes into your fucking bones. It goes into grease. It makes your legs feel more like strong. Easy. You ever seen the Jack Squirrel in your kid? Jack.
Alright. Dante, just hang on to this.
Looks like
I don't know, your third period might, it might not, she might not take it off yet. It should be done by 4th, just in case.
Steroids.
Alright, any questions? Any questions? For those of you who are done, you can help your neighbors. Alright. Your group. Help your group out. You still have 4 minutes of class to continue working. You're not putting up the Chromebooks.
Brad, why don't they show up
That's
at the
6
gym so I can work
periods
out?
job. 36, 26. You're good to go. Meditate.
That's the bottom
Yeah,
one.
who's last?
I haven't touched the basketball yet.
Reyes.
In 7th grade, that's like the last time I touched the basketball.
5th, 6th. You have this race. 6. Marlon, you finished?
Aren't they like more Koreana people than more like Koreana people?
Check on your friend.
You know that, right? It's funny. You see them everywhere. You know, like, yeah, this is
Hey, sorry, no, relax. They can speak to you.
yeah, there are a lot of who live in my house.
Oh yeah, like
Nearby the Alabama place.
right here too. Right here to the head of the 15, 20 houses.
It's there a lot. They're like, they're gonna kill someone.
Hey, Zuni Local. I just want to check in with you, alright? Good? Okay, good. I don't know. There's a heat wave. That last night's bus ride killed me. I got home I have to see it. See.
is just fine everywhere.
What is today?
My elbow's bruised. It's not my claw. No, look, it's just my elbow. It's okay though.
You suck your mouth.
Hi.
Bro, I didn't even know how to do the line shit. So that shit sucked. Bro, I didn't know it was so smudgy. It didn't help that. What, we're supposed to do all 6 ones? It's just fine. Bro. All I can tell you. I'll have to
Alright, we get the announcements going, and, take a little bit of notes.
I didn't hit the ball, I just hit my face right back.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
It's because I missed it.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
What? No, I'm not in my mind. I don't even know how to get film or nothing. I'm not in there.
I can't wait for winter. I'm gonna start guessing again. Not with the head.
No, the school counts.
No, the school only uses football, and basketball, but they're not telling me, I know.
We don't have it for basketball.
They don't?
No, they can't.
So it's only football.
Yeah.
Alright, here are your announcements.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll be closing the first. Academy 3, room 3207. Alright, so if you don't know Miss Valley's classroom, it's next door, second floor. It's on this end of the building. Alright, if you want to join,
You have to go on lunch.
go see Miss Valley.
They might give you a little.
Alright, let's keep it down, please. How about today? Better? Just okay. What it is.
Does it really look like you?
Taking the kids.
Alright, let me go back to these. Alright, for those of you interested in still horrible. Alright, for those of you doing, want to do softball, there's a QR code there. It's a little faster. There's softball, if you're into softball, or you just talk to the coach, or if you want to join. Unified sports, they have unified soccer. If you want to play unified soccer, it's a lot of fun. Or unified sports, for that matter, a lot of fun. So if you want to play unified sports, it's there. Let's co-ed here. And then for those of you who do not know what unified sports is, there it is. So it's soccer and basketball. It's pretty cool. So soccer, basketball is going to be held. Oh, it's usually the winter time. Girls soccer. I need to plug in the attendance.
$80 drone is now available in the U.S. This is an extremely high-tech $5,000 drone. It was developed so that Navy SEALs could do stealth missions, detect enemy positions, and gather footage from up to 2 miles away without ever being seen by...
Alright. Let's, that's what we're doing. Rotations. I'm gonna take some notes and go ahead and get some paper out, ready to go. Alright, so I have okay. Alright, cell phones away. Here we go. Begin. Alright, rotations. What are rotations? Rotation is a transformation that turns a figure about or around a point or a line. Alright, so I'm spinning that figure, that shape, spinning it around. Alright, that point that we're spinning around is the center of rotation. Alright, so translation, I'm going to tell you the direction that you're going and how many degrees. Alright, translation, it was the direction I'm going and how many units you're moving. Alright, here it says how many degrees, how many units but in degrees. So again, all this is just a review from your 7th, 8th, 9th grade, or 7th, 8th, and Math 1 maps. What we're doing today is we're going to focus on these rules. Yes, we're going to draw using the delta map. In fact, all our transformation assignment and probably the test as well will be on delta map. And this page is just kind of review. The next few slides, you don't have to write the next few slides down. When you get to the rotation rules, that's the one slide that you have to write down. These notes have been posted online, along with the class, the video. Let me just double check on the video. Everybody got this? You still ready? Video's been posted. Alright, let me go to the next few slides. Again, you don't have to write the next few slides down, it's just, they just examples of showing you the rotations. Alright, so, what does it look like? So this is what it looks like. First, you need a center rotation. And the center rotation could be on the shape or outside the shape, doesn't matter. But you need a point to, or a line, something to rotate around, right? So it's usually a point. So I need a center rotation, and then I'm just gonna rotate the figure around, right? I'm just gonna spin the figure around. So that's rotation, all right? Now, if it can be outside the shape, it can be outside the shape, and I'm going to rotate it around that figure. Alright, so going back to the proofs, right, and I said that you could use your transformations to write out the proofs. You can, you don't have to sit there and say this angle is vertical angle, these angles are vertical angles, these are reflexive property. You could just say, if there was a point of rotation around this, I'd rotate it 180 degrees. That's why it's those two triangles are congruent, right? It's a rigid motion. All right, but you have to be specific as to what is the center of rotation and how many degrees. All right, now when you spin, the spinning motion, if you start at the top and work your way to the right, that is the clockwise motion. So again, let me watch the screen. This is considered to be the clockwise motion. So you start at the top and you work your way around by going to the right. That is the clockwise motion. So all these are going to be in clockwise motion. When you go at full turns, 360 degrees, right? One full turn is 360. And if I go a half or 180 degrees, half a spin, that's 180 degrees, it's just a half a rotation. All right, halfway around. Going a quarter of the way is 90 degrees. Going a quarter of the way is 90 degrees. And now on all of these turns that we're doing in this class are going to be in increments of 90. So 90, 180, 270. Right? 90, 180, 270. And again, this is a clockwise rotation. I may ask you to go 270 degrees, meaning you're going 3/4 of the way around, right? But going 3/4 of the way around clockwise is going 1/4 counterclockwise, right? So it means the same. And I think I had that written up there, 270 degrees counterclockwise, or what, I'll show you, it's on the board. So it's a quarter of a way, and for this class, we're gonna keep it in increments of 90. If we have time, I'll show you, since we have the software to do it, when it's like 62 degrees, rotate 62 degrees around the origin. Our point of centers for all these, or center of rotation for most of our work that we're going to be doing is the point of origin. Alright, so revolves, rotates around the center of the coordinate plane. Now, there's going to be some questions that you'll see on your homework assignment, that the point of the center of rotation is not the point of origin, but for the most part on the test, it is going to be the origin. All right, rotation rules. Go ahead, write these rules, and then I'll give you some examples for each. rotation rules. So you have rotation rules 90 degrees clockwise, so we're moving is one quadrant around. 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is the CCW. You're moving one quadrant around, but you're going in the opposite direction of the clockwise. And then 180 degrees, which is two quadrants. All right. If you're moving two quadrants, it doesn't matter if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise, right? You're gonna both meet in the same spot. If you go counter or clock. Alright, so hopefully you're writing this stuff down and not on your phone. And if you create the rules, when it comes to the 90 degrees, just remember that you're switching numbers and adjusting signs. So I'll explain that here in a minute. And I already talked about rotate angles other than 90 or 180 degrees, more complicated, right? We do have the software to do it. I'll show you how to do that if we have time. But for the test, because most students want to know what's going to be on the test between the 90s and the 180 or 270, but same as a 90. And then for those of you, you don't need to take a picture of the board. The notes have been posted on Google Classroom. You can open them up there, and you can make it larger if you're having a hard time to see. You want to still writing? Alright, so I'm gonna give you some examples. I recommend you writing those down. They're not on here, because I'm putting them on the whiteboard for you to write down. And then I want you to finish writing the rules down first before I give you the examples, but I need everyone's attention up here. Everyone done writing? Alright, here we go. First example. We're doing rotations of, let's start with in my opinion, the easiest one, the 180 degrees. Sure, since you're already halfway out the door. 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Alright, here we go. For these transformations on the 180 rotation, all you're doing, well, let me read the rule here first. You go XY translates into the negative X, negative Y. So the numbers are gonna stay in the same position. What's gonna end up changing are the signs. Anytime you have a negative number or a negative in front of the variable that you see prior to this, right? in the pre-image, right? You see that negative sign, that means you're changing signs, right? You're gonna see this quite a bit, even in the second semester. You have negatives in your formula, that means you're switching, signs. Alright, so 2, 3 will become -2, -3. So 2, 3 will become -2, -3. -4, +5 will become what? What would -4, +5 become? Anybody? Well, calling someone. -4, +5 will become, Luke, looks like you have the answer.
-5 and 4.
Oh, I'm doing the 180s. I'm doing the 180s, so it'll become what? +4 and -5. So it just changed the signs. So just change the signs. So that's all I'm doing is just changing signs. Alright? Next, -6, -7 will become what? What would -6, -7 become? It's +6, +7. +6, +7. Alright? So 6, 7, +6, +7. Any questions on the rotation of the 180 degrees? I know I did it in a different order as you see on the notes, but I wanted to start with the easier of the three, which is just change signs. Changing signs, change the signs, change the signs. Questions on the what? Yeah, we'll get there. Alright, next. Let's do the rotation of, let's do the top one, 90 degrees clockwise. Alright, so rotations of 90-degree clockwise. So what we're doing here is if you read this, you have x, y is going to translate and it becomes y, -x. So what I'm doing is switching the positions. The x will now go in the position of the y will now go in the position of the x. Right, I'm switching the location of the numbers, right? And then I'm changing the sign for the x. So I'm changing signs for the x, but I'm also switching their location, right, or their position. All right, so let's look at 2, 3. 2, 3, I'm doing 90 degrees clockwise, is I'm gonna switch the positioning, right, 3, 2. And then I'm gonna adjust the sign, which is the x was positive, now it becomes negative on this end, right, this is the second. So it'll be 3, -2. You got it? All right, let's test your knowledge. We'll start with Harmony. Harmony, you got this one? -4, +5 will become what? Oh, you have Harmony chance to answer. You have the answer to it?
+4, -5?
So 4 will go here, 5 will go here, or what was it? Say again?
No, you
+5, what was it? +5, -5, and +4. Alright, so, the 5 will switch, and that's the 5's in the right spot. You don't have to change the sign for the 5. The 4 is here, but you do have to change the sign for the -4, which will become +4. So this first number, the sign will change for the first number. So it'll become, from negative, will become positive, and switch the numbers. Alright, good. So 5, 4. Next, the -6, -7. -6, -7. Alright, Harmony, I get you this time. What's this one? -7, +6, good. -7, +6. Alright, -7, +6. I'm switching the numbers, but I'm also switching the sign for the first one. So, it's 6. Questions? Questions? No? Got it? Alright. Does anyone have any questions on this? Alright, now the counterclockwise, it's gonna be the same, as, well, it's gonna be, I shouldn't say the same, it's gonna be very similar to the clockwise. The only difference is that instead of changing the original sign for the X, we're changing the sign for the Y. The original one. Alright, so let's look at this. Alright, so I'm doing counterclockwise, 90 degrees counterclockwise. So 2, 3, I'm going to change the numbering. Becomes 3, 2, but this time, the Y is gonna become negative, or the sign changes. Sign changes for Y. And I'm talking about the Y from the pre-image, from the original plan. Alright, now let's jump to the next example here. Mr. Call on. Who wants to do this? Elijah. You got this next one. This negative 4, 5 becomes what?
Oh, positive one?
Becomes what? I'm switching the numbers and also the original Y, the sign for the original Y.
5.
5 go first.
Positive.
4. Alright, so I'm not switching the X is still gonna remain the same, but I'm switching the sign for the Y. So they're both 5, negative 5, negative 4. Alright, so for those of you who forget, and I know it's kind of hard to remember this, for those of you who forget how to do this, well, let's just draw a quick quadrant. Quadrant 1 is here, right? The numbers in quadrant 1 are gonna be positive, positive. Quadrant 2 is here. My numbers are gonna be what? Negative, positive. Quadrant 3 down here, my numbers are gonna be negative, negative. Quadrant 4, positive, negative. Alright, so let's look at negative 4, 5. Negative 4, 5. Negative 4, 5, and I'm just gonna throw a point. Alright, just pay attention right here. I'm just throwing a point up. I'm just gonna put it there, right? It's not exact. It's just I know it's somewhere in that quadrant. I'm rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise. So I'm going from this into this. I'm going to this direction, right? So when I do that, I'm moving from here to here. What I do know is I'm switching the numbers. That I know. Alright, students know that. Alright, I'm switching numbers. That 4, 5 becomes 5, 4. Alright? But now it's somewhere around here. Alright, somewhere around here. The thing here is that my numbers here in this quadrant should both be negative, so that's why you have negative, negative. Alright. Now, if you remember the rules, you're gonna fly through this. If you don't, remember, then just draw a quick picture, or draw your coordinate plane, and just kind of mentally put your pencil where your original point is, and then move it whichever direction, whichever corner or quadrant you need to move into. That makes sense? Alright, now the last one, negative 6, negative 7, that means I'm in this quadrant, I'm moving into this quadrant. So what should my answer look like? What should my answer look like? Somebody, go ahead. 7, negative 6. Good. Alright, 7, positive 7. Because the 7 was negative, now it's changing to positive. It goes in the front. I'm not doing anything to the X. It goes back. Alright, any questions? Alright, if you come across if you do come across the 270, let's just say 270 degrees clockwise. So you're moving 3 squares. If I move one, we're going this way, 1, 2, 3. So if I'm starting here at quadrant 1, 1, 2, 3 is 270 degrees clockwise. Well, it's the same thing as going counterclockwise. So it's the same as going 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right. Now, before we get into delta math, I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Does anyone have any questions on any of this? Any of this? Of the notes? Any questions of the notes? No? We're good? All right, let me jump into the delta math then. All right, now the transformation section, the translation, rotations, the reflections, dilation, it's all going to be delta math just because 1, saves on paper. 2, you get to see the actual transformation take place. Right, the rotation, the reflections, so you get to see it happen. All right, let's get into delta math. Let me get into your class. All right, let's go. Everyone log in. I'm sure that everyone's logged in because I think everyone's working on it. Verse and rather than listen to me. All right, ready? All right, here we go. Delta math. All right, so once you log in, you will see this. You'll see the translation, rotation. These are the assignments that are coming up that are going to be due. You'll notice that the translation is due at 4 p.m. today, so if you haven't finished, please finish that. If it has 100%, you're done. If it doesn't have 100%, you're not. So you want 5 out of 5 for each section. Now, you know, if you did it and it's not coming up 5 out of 5, just hit refresh, and the score will appear. All right? Now, today's assignment is due tomorrow at 4 p.m. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections of today's assignment. So I started off with the translation. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on the translation. Here is what meant to put this on yesterday's assignment, and I didn't know how much time I was gonna have with the test retake, so I left it for today's assignment. All right, so here we go. What is the image point of the order pair of 1, 4 after a translation left 5 units and down 5 units? All right, so if I move left, am I adding or subtracting? I'm subtracting, right? I'm subtracting from the x. So 1 minus 5. What's 1 minus 5? Negative 4. All right, if I move down, am I adding or subtracting? Subtracting. I'm subtracting that from y, so 4 minus 5, negative 1. All right, submit your answer, and that is all you're doing, right? You're adding or subtracting to the x or the y, just depends on the direction. All right, so left 5 means I'm subtracting 5 from the x coordinate, down 5 means I'm subtracting 5 from the y. Are there any questions on this section? Any questions? Now, the next section is very similar to this, but it wants you to do that extra step. It might ask you, what is the pre-image after the image, after the translation took place? So you're actually working backwards. So if it tells you to go left 5, you're actually if it tells you you went left 5, so you get to move back, so you have to go right. So you're just doing it backwards. All right. So make sure you just read the question, or it may ask you this the same way here. So it might be the same, it might be slightly different. Just read the question. All right. So let's look at the second section really quick. Alright, here it is. This was the question I was talking about right here. It wasn't popping up in my first and second period classes, it wasn't popping up, so I guess it hurt me. Alright, the image point of A after a translation left 3 units and up 5 units is now gonna be point B, -8, -3. Alright, determine the coordinates of the pre-image point A. So now we're talking like, where was A at? Alright, so where was it? Okay, so we're working backwards, so -8, and instead of going left 3, I'm gonna end up going right 3, because I'm working backwards. So if I'm going right 3, I need to do what? Right 3, I need to go what? Add or subtract? Add, so I'm adding 3. So -8 plus 3, what's -8 plus 3? -5. Alright, so my original spot was at -5, and then I went up 5, so I'm gonna work backwards. I'm gonna go down 5, so I'm gonna end up doing what? Adding or subtracting? So I'm gonna work backwards, I'm gonna go down 5 instead of up. So down means I'm subtracting, right? So I'm subtracting 5, right? So I wanna know the original spot, right? So I'm gonna go subtract 5, -3 minus 5, -8. Alright, submit your answer, and then you're good. So here you're just working backwards, that's all it is. Just working backwards. Next problem, here's the next problem. The image point of 10 under translation is 3, -5. Find the coordinates of the image point 8, 6 under the same translation. So basically you're gonna ask yourself, I went from 1 to 3, how many units did I move in which direction? 2 to the right. I went 2 to the right, so I added 2. So that means 8 plus 2, it's gonna equal to 10. So 8 becomes 10. So I need to go 2 units to the right. 0, -5. So I went from 0 to -5. How many units did I move and in which direction? I went down 5, right? So I went down 5. So I need to subtract 5 from 6. And that puts me at 1. And that is it. Plug it in. Again, here's the work. I didn't write it down because I was going to show you here. So here's the work. 1. I need to get to 3, so 1 plus what gives you 3? 1 plus 2. So I'm going to take the 2 and add it to the 8. 8 plus 2 gives me 10. 0 plus what gives you a -5? 0 plus -5. Alright, I'm going to subtract 5, or I'm moving down 5. So I'm going to subtract 5 from the order pair 6, right? So 6. So I'm going to subtract 5 from 6. And I'm left 6 minus 5 is 1, so my answer is 10. Alright. Let's get into the rotation section. Alright. Rotations. For those of you who are not here yet, just watch here or look up at the board. Just keep an eye up here. Alright, this rotation section is here's the instructions. Follow the guided instructions below to rotate the figure 180 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. The origin is the yellow dot in the middle. Alright, so what we're going to do, here are the instructions. Draw a circle centered at the center of rotation such that one of the vertices of the figure is on the circle. Alright, so I just finished reading that. I don't have a clue what this person or this is Delta Math is asking me to do. So you know what? I'm going to watch the video.
Figure about origin guided. Follow the guided instructions below to rotate the figure 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So the instructions say, draw a circle, this is the center.
So we watched the video, and okay, now it makes sense, so I'm going to go and apply it. So I'm going to go back to my assignment. Alright, so I'm just going to repeat what he said. So holding down your mouse pad, you're gonna extend this and make a circle. Now you're gonna put, your circle on one of these vertices. Doesn't matter if you wanna go the second, the last one, or the first one. Me personally, I like going the first one, cause I do less counting, alright, less work. So I'm gonna drop the circle down. Now I'm gonna create a line. The way you create a line is the same. Hold down your mouse pad and drop the green point on top of the point that where you dropped on the circle, on the vertice, on the vertex. Alright, now I have my line. Now, is there everyone up to this part? Create a circle, open it up. You're there. Then create a line. You're holding the mouse pad down. Alright, now here's the challenging part here. I need to find a perpendicular line, so I need to find the opposite reciprocal of the slope of this line here. Alright, so I'm gonna find the slope first. I went up 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. So it's 3 over 1 is my slope. Now, what is the opposite reciprocal of 3 over 1? Remember the reciprocal, what is reciprocal of fractions? So 3 over 1 is my slope. What's the reciprocal of the fraction 3 over 1? So my fraction is 3 over 1, so I went up 3 and to the right 1. What's the reciprocal of 3 over 1? Anyone remember? What is it? Someone shouted, someone said something? Well, yeah, but I just wanna know what's the reciprocal of this? When you flip the fraction, it becomes what? 1 over 3. So my new sub's gonna be 1 over 3, but since it's positive, I do the opposite sign, so it'll be negative 1 over 3. So my new slope, for the new, or the perpendicular line, the slope is negative 1 over 3. So let me go ahead and do that. So down 1 over 3. So you're gonna go hold down the yellow dot again, your mouse pad, go down 1 and over 3. Now, when you put the second line, you should have an X. You should have an X somewhere on your coordinate plane, right? And it should be at 90 degrees. All right, now that that's performed, my quadrants are set up here. I'm gonna move my figure 180 degrees. Doesn't matter if I go this way or that way, but I need to move it 180 degrees. There's 1, and then there's 2. And there it is. Alright? Now it wants us to write the ordered pairs. Now you need to write the ordered pairs, find which point corresponds with which point, and write the ordered pairs, but since I took notes and I know the rule for 180 degrees means I'm just switching signs. So all these negatives become positives. So positive 3, positive 6. Positive. These are slopes. Okay. All right, Evie, you're going home. Right. Yep. All right. All right, so 3, 6, positive 3, positive 6. Negative 1, negative 3 becomes positive 1, positive 3. Negative 3, negative 4 becomes positive 3, positive 4. All right, we good? Questions? In a minute, I'm gonna walk around the room, so test you, quiz you. If you're on your phone, I'm gonna ask you the harder questions. All right. Hit the try values, and it tells you are correct. If it's wrong, it'll tell you try again. But we're correct, so I'm submitting my answer. Does anyone need to see another one of this? All right, let me go to the one that requires a little bit more work, and that is the next section. All right, so pay attention over here, please. Let me go to the next section. All right, this is the second to the last section. All right, this time we're not rotating around the origin. What we're rotating around is a point somewhere on the coordinate plane, but not at 0, 0. So we do the same thing. I'm gonna open up my circle to any point. So I opened it up there. I'm gonna draw my line again, same way. My slope here is going up 1, 2, 1, 2. My slope is 2 over 2, right? But this time, instead of going up 2 over 2, I'm gonna go down 2, 1, 2, and over 2. Create my X. I'm rotating 90 degrees clockwise. So I gotta pick up this finger and continue going in this motion, going upward, all right? Going upward until I get to the green dot, which is one coordinate, 90 degrees, sorry, counterclockwise. 90 degrees counterclockwise, so I'm going the opposite direction. So 90 degrees counterclockwise. Alright, so I'm there at that point. Alright, so 90 degrees counterclockwise, I'm moving in this direction. Alright, now, what I need to do is write down the new order pairs. Now here I can apply the rules where, you know, I just switch the numbers and change the sign, right, or a sign. Here, I have to find this is what I mean, it's a little bit of extra work. I have to find the corresponding dots and then rewrite the order pair, right? So the corresponding dot for -5, -5, -1, -5, -1 is this one here that's on the circle, right? So -5, -1 is here. So -5, -1 is this point here, which is -1, -1, alright? Now, if you don't know exactly which point is which, well, just hit animate rotation again and follow the dot, so that dot was there. Now I wanna find this one, -8, -3, -8, -3, the first one. I'm gonna click on this, and I'm gonna follow it. Alright, so here it is, I'm following it. It's now this point here, which is +1, -4. +1, -4. Alright, now I wanna find the -4, 4, right? I just click this, and there it is, going across, and it's up here at 2, 0. And then the last one is this last point that's up here, which is 1, 2, 3, 0, or 0, 3. Always put your X value first, 0, 3. Test. Now, if you got it wrong, it'll tell you, try again. One more attempt. Alright, any questions on this particular section? It's the same as the previous section, the only thing is you gotta find the coordinate plane. I mean, technically you translated the origin, so basically you're translating your rotations. You can do it algebraically, but since we have this, might as well just use it. Alright. Last section of the assignment. I think the last section probably gonna be the easier of all the sections, because you get to use the rules. Alright, there's not, you don't have to do the extra work. Anytime you're rotating 180 degrees, you just change all the signs. +6 becomes a -6, -4 becomes a +4. That's it, just changing signs. Alright, next one, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, if you don't remember the rules, pull up your notes. Counterclockwise is I change the Y, the sign for Y. I change the sign for Y. Alright, the Y is a -4, so it becomes +4. 5 stays the same, it just goes in the back end. That's it. Any questions on that last section? Alright, I'm gonna stop talking now. I'll walk around, answer individual questions. Let's finish this. Yes. Somebody was out. They're back. Back? Yeah. Alright, any questions up here? Marlene got it? Genesee, good. Right here. Now, if you need help with that perpendicular line, just ask. Alright, continue rotating all the way till you get to that perpendicular line. So if you got it. You finished it already? I thought that was like this. What you see? What? Your rest of it? Yeah. Yes. Alright, so you went from -7 to -11, so I could go from -7 to -11. Yeah, so -4, so you added a -4, so I'm at -4 to 8, and -4, let's start. I go from 8 to 6, -2, you were 8, and you went to 6, and -2, so you got -2 to this. -3, -2 was -3, -2. Well, they're both negative, so you can add them. -3 plus -2 plus -3 plus -2. -3 plus -2 is -5 plus -5. Yeah, you can use calculator, you need a calculator. Yeah, and the calculator is right here. Just click on that. And it'll calculate -3 -2. Yeah. Questions? Alright, so you got that. Now you gotta draw a line, so you gotta do your slope first. So count from the yellow dot to that dot right there. So count down. Alright, so then you go 3 up. And then 1, so right. And there's your line. So you're just working backwards, or you flip it, the fraction. Then you rotate out 90 degrees. 90 degrees counter, so you go up the other direction. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And that's it. You just write the order pairs. Got it? Finished? Got it? Questions over here?
3 over and 1 down, and then go.
Got it.
I put the dot right there.
You finished?
Go from the yellow dot.
What you said to help you with that somehow, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then minus.
Okay, so count from this dot here to that dot. How many years do you go up? And to the left? Alright, so my slope is 3 over 4. So I'm gonna flip
Or
that
is that
fraction.
what 4 should be?
So I'm gonna count down 4. And to the right 3. And so hold that down and give it to that hand. The opposite, yeah, flip your fraction and then change that. All right, questions? Let's see. 47. Yeah, plenty of time. 6 minutes. Anybody else? Questions? Oh, you got it?
triangle things where you have this
Yeah.
look out a page. I turned it in, but my name was
Alright, what period is this, third period?
yeah.
Alright, does anyone have any questions? Especially like you're sitting by yourself, you don't have a neighbor to ask. Oh, but you can't apply the rules, sorry, you can't apply the rules there, because this is shifted. So, because since this shifted, you would have to shift these two. You would have to add a subtract. So it's just look at where the orders, which ones? Alright, so you see how this dot, it gets me there, so that's me getting there, that's the top. So this dot, which is 1, -2, 1, -2, is now that one, which you just have to look at it carefully. Got 2, -7, so 2, -7. So that's that one you have to, just because that dot, you apply those rows when it's in the center. The center rotation is 0. Yeah, kind of, yeah, but just go off of the order pair. Since you shifted down to that point, you'll see that.
Oh,
You may find it that way.
they were giving a number, so I did 1,
Yeah.
or something, like 1 and 4.
But it's probably easier just to get the order pairs from that.
Yeah, just, yeah, you're going.
Any questions? Questions?
How did you get it? How did you get it?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have access to printing complexes?
Do I have that?
Do any of us have access?
No, those is these, right?
No, not the records, the whole classes
The
that,
restroom pass?
so if students didn't come in at lunch.
Oh, those, no, you have to make your own. Yeah, you have to make your own. You need to write down.
I'm surprised they don't have them in the shared drive for us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I haven't seen any,
Okay.
but,
But they're all out, do you have like a couple?
do what?
Do you have any?
Do I? No, I used Concordians last year.
I think I saw Mrs. Melcomey in the hallway. I'm just gonna ask her if she can share those with us because, I mean, if they're giving out detentions.
Yeah, I haven't seen them, unless they are there, someone put them in there, but I didn't go looking for them either. But Concordian shared some last year with us, but they're like generic.
Okay, if you find them, can you forward them to me?
Yeah.
If not,
I did not leave this, I tell you, you're good to go. And let's see.
that's kind of weird. You call it the LA.
Did y'all, I didn't look at the tests, but, I looked at like 3 or 4 tests, and there was a lot of blanks. I'm assuming you didn't finish.
You did like 10 minutes?
Yeah. I'll try and do like 15, 20. How about 25 minutes? Because I need to give you time to work on your project too, that's why. Yeah, well, it's due Tuesday, that's why. They want you to start. would say 25, 30 minutes.
Okay, that's enough. Jesus.
Meaning half